Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. In this episode, we are going to be in Colorado, which was Felicia's 48th state, actually, and Mushu's 16th state. I previously hit 50 back in 2019. I had my 50th state. So we very much enjoyed Colorado. We spent the month in Boulder. Specifically, we used that as kind of our launching point to see many other places in Colorado. But Boulder itself, we had a one-bedroom condo. The Airbnb was really nice. The host was terrific. Her name was Joy. She was absolutely amazing. Mushu was comfortable. We were comfortable. And Boulder itself is just an extremely walkable city, and we were able to get a lot of exercise, which was needed. I have Hashimoto's, which some of you may be familiar with. It's an autoimmune disorder. It's been hard on the road to find gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free restaurants, bakeries. But Boulder, they had a lot of bakeries and a lot of restaurants that were gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, all those things. And so since it was not something we were accustomed to being able to do, we indulged a lot over the course of the 31 days that we were there. And we exercised a lot, which was good, but I still put on a few pounds. I don't know if you did as well, but yes. We had a really good time in Boulder. One of our first stops there was Boulder Falls. I mentioned in at least one of the other videos, if not more, that we really enjoy waterfalls. And there's a place called Boulder Falls, and it was really pretty. A lot of people hanging out there, and it was a really hot day as well, the day that we went. The parking is a little hit or miss, I guess, because most people will park if you're coming to Boulder Falls from the city of Boulder itself, most people pulled off to the side of the road. There is one little parking area on the left side of the road.
Yeah, the day we went, it was all filled up.
Yeah, and it was definitely filled up.
Side of the road on the right. The shoulder is pretty wide, though. It wasn't like you were hanging in the road.
It's just a short walk once you do either pull off to the side of the road or you park or whatever you do. It's about from the time you start at the stairs, because there's a lot of stairs leading to the falls themselves. They're short stairs. It's not like a steep walk or anything like that, but it's about 100 yards, about a football field length to get there. The stairs are rocky, but again, they're not steep or anything like that. So, but it's certainly not designed for people with, who have problems walking. If you have difficulties, if you have
a wheelchair,
right?
It's not going to get down there.
Yeah, it's not conducive to that at all. And while we were there, we also went to the Museum of Boulder. We're not big museum people. We've been to quite a few, and we discovered after going to quite a few that that's just not necessarily our thing. It's
very dependent on what's there. Sometimes we're like, oh wow, so glad we went. But other times, it's kind of...
It's hit or miss.
That's a good, we'll go with hit or miss.
Yeah. But the reason we went to the museum itself is because they were featuring an exhibit titled Proclaiming Colorado's Black History, 1840s to today. So we went. It's not a very big museum. Parking was also a challenge, and I guess that's because it's not very big, and there's not very much street parking. The parking lot that they have is pretty small.
Once you pull in, you're kind of committed, and then it was really tight to turn around. It's almost not even worth pulling in there. Because it's so tiny.
Yeah,
just stick on the street if you happen to be in the area and want to check out the museum.
Once you get inside the museum, we were there for probably about 30 minutes or so. However, I will say that the space itself, it was very thoughtfully crafted. So they did a good job with that. They do have a rooftop, which is worth the price of admission, quite frankly, just because of the views. You can get some great pictures from up there, and you can kind of see out. See some of the mountains in Colorado. It's just beautiful from up there. So
we didn't have to pay, did we? I feel like we made a donation.
I think we made it. You're right. I think it was a donation.
I'll put something on the screen if we did have to pay, because I don't remember 100%, but I feel like it was just a donation.
Yeah, I think that sounds right to me. And for those of you who are familiar with Boulder, you will know that Pearl Street is kind of the probably the main draw there. It's certainly one of the highlights of the city, if not the highlight. We walked there quite a few times because, again, as I stated in the beginning, Boulder is quite a walkable city. Pearl Street Mall is it's just a few blocks long, and it's a pedestrian walkway only with it's lined with a lot of stores and restaurants. And Boulder Bookstore was, for us, I think probably the highlight of the Pearl Street Mall area. As stated in previous videos, we love bookstores. And Boulder Bookstore, it's an amazing bookstore. There are multiple levels. They have every genre you can think of in the bookstore.
They do have used books there, lots of puzzles, all the things. It doesn't seem big, but they pack a lot of things in there, I guess, because it's so many floors.
Yeah. Yes, Gelato Boy. They have, I want to say I probably hit up Gelato Boy at least 3 times. But it's what it sounds like. Gelato and ice cream place. And they had one non-dairy gelatos that was lemon poppy seed. I love all things lemon. It was amazing each time. Another one of our favorite places in Boulder was the Dushanbe Teahouse, which is just incredibly beautiful. The mayor of Dushanbe, Tajikistan, visited back in the late 80s, and he named Boulder a sister city to Dushanbe, and he said that they were going to build a tea house in Tajikistan, which they did. It was sculpted in Tajikistan from 1987 to 1990, and they shipped each piece of the tea house. They shipped it, and then it was just assembled once it arrived in Boulder. I thought that was a pretty incredible story, and just the place is beautiful. We had lunch there.
We found out that we could visit in the afternoons and order from the bar to sit outside and kind of have an afternoon tea.
Yeah.
Which is what we took advantage of a couple times.
The tea was great.
Actually, I'm really missing the tea from there. We walked I'll say, 2.5 miles towards Pearl Street because the tea house was somewhat near Pearl Street Mall, just a couple blocks over. So we walked over, sat and had afternoon tea, and then the farmer's market was opening on the street there. So we didn't have to worry about taking the car and finding parking because it did get pretty busy. And both times that we did that, everything was great.
At the farmer's market, there was they had food trucks out there, and one of the trucks that they had was called Best One Yet ice cream truck. Turns out that the owner of the truck, Helen, she was great. Come to find out, she's also from New Jersey, as Felicia and I are. The ice cream was amazing. And so she had an orange cream, dairy-free ice cream, which I think I indulged in every Wednesday we were in Boulder. I believe all 4 weeks we were there. I think I went.
We made
so
it. If not 4, we definitely made it 3.
At least 3 times.
Their whole ice cream truck was dairy free though. And moving on to more food.
Yeah, more food. There was a place called, I think it was an A in front of it. It was like A Fringe Pizza. It was a really short walk from the Airbnb, like 5-minute walk from our Airbnb to this place, and we ate there twice. They had gluten-free crust and other allergen-friendly menu items as well. The first time we went, our server was Gabby. She reminded us of one of our daughter's friends. She was great, and the food was excellent.
They also had really good bottled root beer. You can't always find root beer in different states.
But one of the great things about this place was the fact that they don't cut the pizza for you. They bring out kitchen shears. The concept is so that you can cut it to your liking, to whatever size you know, however small or big you would want each slice to be. I thought that was a really, really cool concept.
Don't really have a pizza to book segue, but I am an avid reader, and I was a little concerned about how to get my reading fix when we were on the road since I had no room for books. And so I downloaded the Little Free Libraries app, and in Boulder there were a ton of little free libraries. It was usually when we were going somewhere else, I would have them mapped out to hit them along the way. It would allow us to drive into neighborhoods where we would have never driven before. If I found a book that was interesting, I'd grab it, and then when I was done reading it, we'd find another little library and put them back. So that way we weren't traveling with them, but I was still able to read new books, kind of refresh a different library. So in addition to little free libraries, I was dragging Kevin into thrift stores. The stuff inside thrift stores changes, West Coast, East Coast, but we were mainly looking for books to see if we could grab something for $1. And a couple of times we did find some good books, but the thrift stores were kind of like the little free libraries, going into different areas of the cities and seeing more of Colorado than we would have seen otherwise.
Yeah.
In addition to the Dushanbe Teahouse and farmer's market on Wednesdays and the ice cream truck. Boulder Library was right there in the same area, close enough for us to walk. We went there pretty early in our visit that month. Found out we could get temporary library cards for the month. My reading fix was very well satiated when we were in Boulder.
And then for those of you who are familiar with Celestial Seasonings, the tea, they're headquartered in Boulder. And so we went to the headquarters building, which was really cool. They do tours daily. They have a store where you can get teas that they only sell in their store. The tour was pretty awesome. Before they actually start the tour, there's an area where you can kind of take pictures.
Every tea that they make, you can try it for free.
And then the tour started. There was no photography, no videos allowed. We have a couple of pictures, I think, but no, well, not of the tour itself, but
right. We just got the pictures of us in the really cute hair nets.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't get a picture of the beard net.
We had heard about, I think my aunt told us about the peppermint room. It's closed off. You can't actually go into the peppermint room, but oh my God, the smell was just incredible. It's amazing.
They have to keep it closed off because it will get on the other tea and infuse them.
It's worth the visit. And then outside of the Boulder area itself, we did visit quite a few other cities, I think, but we were told that Fort Collins was really nice and really beautiful area. And so we decided to go for a visit, and they have a place called the Benson Sculpture Garden. It's actually in Loveland, Colorado, which is on the way to Fort Collins from Boulder, and it's really close actually to Fort Collins. We walked around, and it's, again, just as it sounds, it's just a lot of sculptures, two sides of the street. We walked about 3/4 of it.
The internet estimates anywhere from 9/10 of a mile to 1 3/10 of a mile long, the entire thing.
Yeah.
If we lived in the area, that would be an area to visit
Often.
pretty frequently.
Yeah, because it's just peaceful. There's a water feature, and you can do picnics and stuff like that as well. In Fort Collins itself, there were a couple of bookstores that we visited there. One called the Bookstore and Square, and the other was called the Old Firehouse Books. They were both cute places, cute bookstores. We had lunch at a place called Locust Cider, Fort Collins. They had vegetarian as well as gluten-free menu options. I had a burger, which I really enjoyed there. So the scenery, I think that was probably the best part. Even though the food for me was fine, it was more the environment, I guess. We sat outside. There was a place called the Explorado Market, which is amongst the best bakeries I've ever been to in my life, actually. The place is pretty amazing.
That was really good. So the theme is, you could see why we gained weight when we were in Boulder.
Yeah. We also, while we were in Fort Collins, Colorado State University is there, so we just kind of drove through the campus to check it out. University of Colorado was actually in Boulder. We did drive that campus as well. I was hoping to get to see the football team practice because, Deion Sanders is the coach there now, and that didn't pan out.
We also spent some time in Denver.
We did. Yeah, I'd actually been to Denver 2 times previously, but this was my first time having an opportunity to kind of see it in this manner, because the last 2 times I went, I was there for a conference. This time, just being there on our own time, I really kind of got to take it all in. Mostly just walked around a lot. We've been told that Denver is not what it used to be. It's definitely different now. They did have a place called Dairy Block, which we found interesting.
Lots of alleyways. It's an RT area. I think we were there at the wrong time of day because it was kind of quiet, and one of the places was a bakery giving out free donuts, so I guess they were close to closing. It was located right near Coors Field, so we got to walk right by the stadium.
Yeah, where the Colorado Rockies play. We try to make a habit, too, of when we visit places, we try to see if there are any minority-owned bookstores. We make a point to visit if they do, and Denver happens to have one called The Shop at Matter, which was a really cute place. Very cute store, bookstore.
So yeah, in Denver, we continued with our eating our way around Colorado. I saw a video on Instagram where someone had posted bakeries to check out in the Denver area, specifically for their croissants. I mapped out where all the bakeries were, and we kind of did a loop. It was the same day that we did other things. I couldn't really eat them all. They lasted a few days while I tried to eat them. I couldn't do it all that day. But it was fun. It was something new that we hadn't done before and not something that we should probably do regularly.
No, that's
Haven't
for
done
sure.
it since.
Haven't done it since. There was this restaurant. It was called Bodega, and they've since changed their name to ODB's. It was amazing. We ate there twice. The first time, one of Felicia's friends came to town. She just happened to be in town while we were there, and so we met there and had lunch with her. And we all loved this place. I had a burger, the Bodega burger, both times, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And then I think
icing on the cake,
yes,
the cherry
absolutely,
on top
yeah,
of the
absolutely.
sundae.
The highlight was Rocks Amphitheater. It was a place that I'd been. Well, in fact, I had never heard of it. Felicia told me about it, I don't know, early on when we first started dating, like 12, 13 years ago. She asked me if it was a place I'd ever heard of, looked it up, and was like, oh man, this place looks gorgeous. Kind of been looking forward to going. We just hadn't taken the opportunity to go.
Kevin was watching the events calendar to see if there was a show we could go to or anything. But
we were hoping to see a concert because that's really what they're known for. But there was no one that we had interest in while we were there. And by the way, Red Rocks is actually in a city called Morrison, Colorado, which is like 20 minutes from Denver and about 30 minutes from Boulder. We did see that they were going to be showing The Matrix. They called it the film on the rocks.
And they were doing it like every week or every other week. I think they did 5 movies last summer. It seems like something they do in every summer, or they have the last couple of years.
But they had The Matrix, and that is one of mine and Felicia's favorite movies. We went and got to experience that, and it really was just a beautiful place, and the view was incredible. It's just a natural
rock formation.
Yeah, it's a natural
that they built
rock. Yep.
Theater into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the acoustics are amazing. The views are great.
Yeah, it was a little pricey. It was $20 each for the movie, but it was worth it for the experience. Brought a blanket and ponchos, and unfortunately we needed the ponchos.
Yes.
We didn't get to the end of the movie.
Yeah, almost. We got close, but yeah, it started with a drizzle, and we were like, okay, let's hang out for a little bit.
We could see it rolling in. We could see the lightning coming.
And it got bad by the time we kind of got
making
down
our
the
way.
stairs and was trying to make our way through the parking lot to where we had parked. It started getting really bad. It was coming down out there, so everyone was running to their vehicles. But yeah, it was still a good time. Very glad we went. So that's part 1 of our time in Colorado. The next video will have the rest of the month that we spent there and the other things that we did. So we appreciate you joining us, as always, taking time out of your schedules to do that, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay, bye.